Hello, everyone. Welcome to Parents Guide to Technology. I'm so excited to see you all out here and feel like tonight's just going to be a great night of equipping you. You know, tomorrow will be my official third month on the job, started the third month on the job. And one of the commitments that I'm trying to make to you all is to help resource you so that you can take the incredible task, incredible challenge of navigating as parents your child through the years of adolescence. And so part of that equipping, part of that resourcing, part of our support of you is to help have nights like this where we can just equip you, where we can come together as parents, and it's great to see some grandparents that are here tonight to learn a little bit more of the challenges that are facing our students and the challenges you face in collaborating or working together, finding that happy medium when it comes to technology and your student. And so we are thrilled tonight to have Dave Harris with us. Jacqueline served on staff with Dave at Southeast Christian here in town. And Dave has sensed the Lord leading him into launching ParentTechGuide.com. And so he's been doing this for about a year and a half now, meeting with parents and doing resources like this evening. And so our hope is that tonight we'll put a few extra tools in your toolbox when it comes to parenting. Would you join me in opening tonight with a word of prayer? God, parenting is not easy, but I thank you that there is great grace for it. And so I pray that tonight, whether it's through a comment that's said or a question that's asked or just even the space that is created, that each of us would know, God, that you are for us and that your desire is that our child, our student, would become a Christ follower for the rest of their life. So, Lord, we dedicate this evening to you for your purpose and your glory. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing in Dave's heart, for the gifts that you've given to him, and how he's sharing those gifts with your kingdom. So I pray your blessing upon him and his family tonight too. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks. So I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight, and I hope I'm not too boring or nerdy for you, okay? Because I get really nerdy about things, and I get excited about nerdy things. As you will see later, okay? So for now, we're going to spend some time talking about some hard things, but just to kind of get a good idea of where you guys are, I just want to ask the question, what is the number one challenge that you guys are facing in your home when it comes to technology? Is there any brave soul out there who's willing to? What was it? They know more than you do, okay? That's always a big one. Yes? Okay. YouTube, the old YouTube suggestions. Yes, yes. At the end of a video, they suggest other videos, and yeah, they're not always good videos. Okay? Anybody else? Yeah? Okay, setting limits like time, how much time they're spending with the device, also maybe what they're seeing online, various things like that. So we'll try our best to get to all of that stuff as we go. But hopefully, did everybody get one of these on their way in? Josh, can you grab a couple more? So I've been working at Southeast Christian Church for about 10 years on staff, and I do multimedia and graphic design and video stuff for our middle school and high school students. I've been working with students for about almost 20 years, and in some capacity or another. And over the last probably 3 or 4 years doing ministry at Southeast, we just kept having more and more parents coming up to us as a staff saying, help me, I don't know what to do. So we started doing this to hopefully educate and equip parents to at least get the conversation started. Not that we're going to solve all of the world's problems here tonight, but at least to get you guys talking, to raise some questions and some awareness, and that's kind of our goal. Our goal is not for you to go home and flush your child's phone down the toilet. However, I will say some things that will make you want to do so, all right? Trust me. But again, our goal is to build in them some long-term health. Okay? So if you open in your book to the beginning, we're going to skip the first page there and go straight to where it says the heart of it. These are just 4 kind of general ideas that I've found that are very helpful in how we approach technology in our homes. The first one is that we need to understand that we are in this for the long haul. Technology is not going away. I was talking earlier, the idea that us as parents are immigrants to technology. So we didn't have it growing up. We would pass notes around the class and things like that. Does she like me? Those types of stuff. So my daughter is in 5th grade now. Last year, at the beginning of her 4th grade year, they sent a note home saying that they were putting photos up on Instagram of 2 different people and then voting who was the best. So that's kind of an idea of, that was in the 4th grade. Okay, so that's where a lot of this is headed. In a lot of times it can be used for great things, and we'll talk about that too. But anyway, these are 4 things that I like to mention. But the first is to build character, that we are in this to build long-term character into our kids. And understanding that it's not, a lot of times, whatever the issue is, has nothing to do with technology whatsoever. That the issue is not what app they have, or it's the fact that your child is not afraid to say something to a phone as opposed to saying something face-to-face with someone else. And it's our job as parents to really instill in them and build in them character, because technology is not going to go away, and they're going to have to deal with this the rest of their life. So they need to learn how to do it in a good and healthy way that honors God. Okay? Second thing is to model the way. It's super important for us as parents to know that we need to be modeling the way when it comes to technology in our homes. It was us as parents who originally brought technology into our home. So it's super important because of that we are showing them the way. You always get frustrated with the guy who's in front of you and talking on the phone at McDonald's trying to order, and so it's our job to show them proper etiquette, and it's our job to show them, hey, you know what? If I send them a text, an encouraging text today, this is a way I can use it to be healthy and to encourage them in whatever it is that they're doing, but using it in a way that is good. The next thing, create accountability. I like to tell parents to pick up the phone very often and check it for content, but do it in a way that they see you doing it. Don't do it after they go to bed, because they need to know that you are involved in the situation. So pick it up randomly, and hopefully that will create at least some accountability, so that the next time they go to do something that's not necessarily the most appropriate thing, they're going to think twice because they know that you're looking at their phone. Okay? And the last thing is to see it as an opportunity for tough conversations. Again, knowing that 99% of the time the issue has nothing to do with technology. It's about how they're treating other people. It's about how they're interacting socially. It's about what they're looking at and what they're putting into their brain and into their mind, and understanding that they need to do those things that are honoring Jesus and not the opposite. So use it as an opportunity or a springboard to have tougher conversations. Okay? Next up, we're getting closer to the nerdy part, so it's good for me. All right? Sorry, I keep doing something apparently. Okay, healthy guidelines. If you notice on the second page of that where it says good idea, what I like to tell folks is that if you are going to go to AT&T or Verizon or Sprint or wherever, and you're going to get your child a phone, then ultimately your name is on the contract. So therefore, you are ultimately responsible for that device. They're not going to come after your child, they're going to come after you. So because you have to sign a contract, it may be a good idea for them to have to sign a contract as well, because you need to be upfront and honest with them so that they know everything, all the rules of engagement up front. if you don't do those things that we agree to, then the phone's going to get taken away, or there's going to be some sort of consequence because of that. Okay? So these are some guidelines. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to touch on a few of them. The first one kind of sets up the rest because understanding that the phone belongs to you as the parent. Regardless of if they pay for it or not, the phone ultimately belongs to you, or the iPod or whatever it is, and you have the right, and they need to know you have the right to take it away, to pick it up, to do whatever. But that kind of sets everything up. Just kind of going down the list there, if you get to you break it, you buy it. Every year at Southeast, we take a group of high school students. This year we took 1,200 people. We took, I think it was 26 buses from Louisville, Kentucky to Panama City Beach, Florida for this thing we call Bible and Beach. It's awesome. There's 950 high school students on the beach, okay? You can imagine. The place where we do worship is about 2 miles from the hotel, so twice a day they all get on buses and we go to do worship, and it's a school in Florida that's outdoor. So they have these like pedways that go from building to building because there's no hallways. It's a school in Florida. Well, our student that was walking in front of me decided to tell his friend how awesome his new case was and how indestructible it was. So he's walking on the second floor and decides to throw his phone off the second floor onto the concrete below. And of course, his phone shatters into a billion pieces because his case is not going to help that. And he's like, oh, man. Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, I was just absolutely amazed with how many broken phones that our students carry around with them. It's crazy. So they need to understand to take care of the physical part of it as well. Okay? Next up, just kind of going along, understanding that everything is public. Everything that they do online, they need to understand that everything that they post, everything they say, every photo that goes up, everything they do is public. The Twitter app that you've probably heard of that we'll talk about later, every tweet that is ever made is stored in the Library of Congress. It's public. So everything that they do is out there, even if apps say that they're not, they are, okay? In one way, shape, or form. So for them to understand, I'm not going to put my hand in my pocket anymore. For them to understand that everything they do online is public. There was an incident with JCPS back, I guess it was almost a year ago, where they were posting stuff on Instagram that were like the girls of Atherton High School, and they were completely inappropriate photos. So there was a police investigation to determine if they were actually girls from Atherton High School who was posting them. If you post something and you are under the age of 18, so if you are just sending a message from one person to another, a photo from one person to another, that's inappropriate, that has nudity or pornography, it can be considered pornography or distributing pornography that is underage. So child pornography, if you get that sent to you, you can be charged in the court of law for possession of child pornography in the state of Kentucky. So it's a big deal. Yep. Okay. All right. We'll enjoy the darkness. Yes. Yay for technology. Okay. Understanding on the second page, just helping them to understand that whatever they do online represents themselves, their church, represents Jesus, represents just your family. Everything they do online represents everything about them. It's a good lesson for them to understand. And the one that's not on here, I teach in JCPS for parents a lot, so the one that's not on here that needs to be on here is that they can use technology in a way. Technology is not inherently bad, so they need to use it in a way that honors God, that tells people about Jesus, basically. Whether it's journaling, whether it's with their Bible app, and they have a reading plan so they can go through and read the Bible in a year, and their app is reminding them to do that every day. Whether it's sending their friend a text message of encouragement. And again, that's how we can model the way for them as well. So, all right, so those are some good ideas. Okay, on to the nerdy part. As parents, there are ways that you can get help. The first is just to have honest conversations with other parents. For whatever reason, we get afraid of technology sometimes, so it's important for us to have those conversations. Secondly, actually, just the last one is, when in doubt, Google it. I know that sounds super simple, but lots of people put lots of things on YouTube that are very helpful, that actually show you on the phone how to do various things to help you out, okay? So, when in doubt, there's a blog post or something written about it, so Google it, okay? Next thing, okay, can my service provider help? You as a parent, yes, the service provider can help. What I mean by that is Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, all the main networks that are out there, providers, they do things that can help you as a parent. Sprint, for example, has something, some of them come with a cost of $4 or $5 extra a month on your plan, but they have something for Android phones that detects if the phone is going faster than 5 miles an hour, and if it is, it will shut the ability to text off. So AT&T has a free web history thing that they do. But again, everything that the cell phone providers can help you with are only through the cell phone network, okay? So if your child is connected to Wi-Fi at your home or at Starbucks or anywhere else, this stuff's not necessarily going to help you. It only keeps track of things that are going through your data connection with your phone, okay? Any questions about that? All right, good. The next thing is wireless routers. They are very helpful. If you go to Walmart, you can pick one up for about $75, and you can get Linksys and Netgear. Belkin is also a popular one. All the new routers have built-in parental controls that you can use at home. One of the questions I get a lot is, what do I do when everybody comes to my child's friends all come over and spend the night, and they connect to your internet at home? You can set up rules that everybody that connects to that is blocked from pornographic websites. Or you can set it up to where everything that goes through your wireless router at home, and it turns off their ability to connect to the internet at 9 o'clock at night. Okay? You can also set it per device, so you can turn your child's device off but leave yours on. All right? So wireless routers, they all have little videos that can help you set everything up. There is this thing in the middle called OpenDNS that is super nerdy, honestly. It's a little nerdy for me even. And so if you know a friendly IT guy that can help you set that up, it is a free option that you can use on your router at home. Okay? Any questions about router stuff? Yes. OpenDNS is basically controls, like parental controls and things like that. It's a software-based thing that you can use in conjunction with your current system that you have. So you don't have to buy a special router. You can just use the software to control it. Okay? Yep.
What about the wireless router that you get?
Some of them have parental controls and some of them don't. AT&T does a little bit, but you have to have a PC to set everything up. So if you have a Mac in your house, you're out of luck, like me. Time Warner, do I?
You are a nerd.
Yes. Time Warner actually gives you, they're not much help at all, honestly. They give you, yeah, surprise, surprise. They give you like free software that you can install on your computer, but that's about it. I think it's like Norton's, like family stuff or whatever. But yeah, there's nothing, but you can use any one of these routers. You just plug the one from the cable company into this and use this as your wireless router, not the other one.
The OpenDNS is the software thing, would that be used to return
Yes,
paperwork?
yes, but good luck setting it up. Good. That's what you need. Okay? All right. Moving on. So when I was first started doing this with Southeast, I've been an Apple guy for a long, long, long time, since before the iPod was in existence. Okay, so very long time. And we started doing this, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to learn the two biggest things that are out there, which were Apple and Android. All right? So Southeast was gracious enough to buy me an Android device so that I could figure it out. So I have this shiny new Android device, and I take it home with me, and I'm sitting there fiddling with it, trying to figure it out, and I sit it down on my coffee table. And my daughter, who was about 8.5 at the time, was in the house with me, and I get this text from my one of my best friends about, I don't know, it was like 7 o'clock at night or something, and he says, hey, by the way, did you know your daughter has an Instagram account? No. So she had taken the device that Southeast had given me and had signed herself up for Instagram and had taken selfies with the Android device that were geotagged to my house. So they basically said, this is where she is. Okay? And she was 8 years old at the time. So, anyway, all that to say, I had to figure out the difference between iOS and Android. iOS is any Apple device. So you have iPods, iPads, iPhones. iOS runs on all those devices, and iOS is the same on all those devices for the most part. Okay? So at least as far as this is concerned. Google owns Android, and just to give you a little history, Apple as a company, if you know anything about Steve Jobs and the history of Apple, you know that Steve Jobs is an absolute control freak, okay? And as a result, Apple is a bunch of control freaks as well. The reason they're control freaks is they want you as the customer to have the best experience possible that you can possibly have. So their way of giving you a great experience is to control your experience, all right? Google, on the other hand, with Android, takes a completely different approach, and they're more the hippie, free-wheeling, whatever you want to call them. They have the approach of, it's open source, so we're going to just kind of free for all, whatever happens, happens, and that's the approach they take. So if you look at your nice little diagram right here, okay, I'll do my best to explain the big difference for you as a parent between the two platforms. So hopefully this will let you know when you go to a store to buy something and you see 100 phones on the wall, and this will at least kind of give you an idea of the difference between the two, all right? If you imagine the phone is your backyard, so you have this nice, pretty backyard with this nice lawn, and you can play in your entire backyard. That means everything the phone does. So the phone makes phone calls, does text messages, does apps, does games, does music, does all the stuff. Everything that the phone does is in the backyard, all right? Well, what Apple does is they say the people who make apps for the phone, they give those people a sandbox to play in the backyard, right? But that is all they can have access to, is what's inside that sandbox. They don't have access to the rest of the backyard. Whereas you'll notice Google's sandbox is a little bit bigger, so the people who make apps have more control over the phone and freedom to do what they want to do with the phone. Make sense? Everybody good so far? I'm not too nerdy yet? Okay? All right. So this is how this affects you. Basically, if you turn the page there, and we'll get into the specifics of this, but if you have an Android device, there are absolutely no restrictions whatsoever that come with the Android device. So that means if you want to control and manage the phone, you have to install an app to do it, okay? Because Google gives you nothing out of the box. Apple, on the other hand, does not let their developers control anything with the phone. So therefore, anything in the App Store on the Apple side that you see that says that it does parental controls, they are lying to your face because they can't do it. Apple does not let them control the phone whatsoever. So the only control that they have is either what's in their app. So you'll see things that are like safe browsers and stuff like that on the Apple side, but it's just the browser, and that is the only thing they can control. They can't monitor anything else that has to do with the phone because Apple won't let them. Okay? So, make sense? All right. Going back to the Android side of things, you'll see big, bold there, no restrictions. Okay? So if you go over to the other page, you'll see where it says helpful apps. These are some apps that I've found that are very helpful for you as a parent. They can do things like, for example, Guardian, the third one down. You can go on there and you sign up for an account. The app, all these apps run on your child's phone, so your child can't delete them, and they run in the background. Okay, some of them drain the batteries worse than others, but you'll have to kind of figure out. They all have free trials, but they all cost money. Some of them are $20 a year. Some of them are like a one-time device. Some of them are like $5 a month. They all have varying price tags, but the ones that are free in the Android store are pretty terrible. Okay. But you can do things. They all have online portals, so you go online, you set up a free account, so you can do a free trial to try it out for 30 days and see if you like it. The Guardian, you can go in there and list every possible horrible word you can think of, okay? And then if your child uses any one of those words in a text message, it notifies you to let you know that they use that word, okay? You can do things like time controls with the device, so it actually just bricks the device during certain times. So they can't play a game, they can't do anything except make an emergency call to you. Okay? You can control remotely control the apps that are on the phone. So, for example, if you see that they have an app, if you log onto the website, you see that they've installed an app or a game that you don't want them to have, you can just click and go, nope, I don't want you to have that, and then it immediately disappears from their phone. All right? So, Android gives you a lot more control. It's a lot more difficult to use than the Apple side of things. However, with Android, there is kind of a sense of false security, and I'll show you an example of that later. But because Android gives you more control, there's a lot more workarounds to stuff, okay? So just be aware of that. All right. Some other things to note there, the Google Play Store, there's an address that gives you, that's every app that's ever been purchased on a Google account. So that'll help you know everything that they've purchased, and that list cannot be deleted because that's a Google. The second one down, which is the default, Google Play has a content filtering thing as part of their but with like and disable it. Okay. And you don't have to do anything but click like 3 buttons. So, anyway. All right, moving on to the Apple side of things. I get to use my giant iPhone behind me. Okay? So the Apple side, the only thing with Apple is that they have built-in controls that you can use. but that is all they offer. So again, apps can't control anything on the phone, but Apple's, at least they give you stuff that you can use. Okay, so I'd like to run through that a little bit. We're going to go to settings up here. And by the way, it's all in blue on your paper. So if you look under the title, that's how you get there. So you go to the settings app and then general and then restrictions. So if you need a reminder later, that's how you get there. So you go to settings and then down here to general. And then we're going to go to, where is it? Restrictions right here. So you can see that I have it off. So we're going to enable restrictions. So when I click enable, it asks me for my secret password. This is for me only, not for my child. What's interesting is it tells you how many times your child tries to get to this page. So your child has tried 39 times to. I don't know if the current version does it anymore. iOS 6 used to do it. I haven't looked in a while, but my daughter just knows now. So we're entering my secret password, 2222. And so these are all the things that you can do on the phone to help you as a parent. If you look at the list there, well, we'll just go through them. So Safari will disable Safari completely, so their ability to surf the internet. All right. This is their use of the camera, and then FaceTime is, you guys know what FaceTime is, like video chat over your Wi-Fi. Siri's the nice lady that talks to you all the time. Okay. AirDrop is kind of nerdy, and CarPlay is, I think you have to drive a BMW or whatever, Ferrari to do it. So, iTunes Store is, you can turn off the ability for them to view the iTunes Store at all. Okay. iBooks, same thing. That just takes it away completely. Installing apps takes away the App Store completely. Deleting apps, you can leave their ability to install an app, but they can't delete it. Okay. In-app purchases are like if you're playing Candy Crush and you want to get to the next level and you want to spend the 99 cents to get there, that's an in-app purchase. So you can turn off their ability to buy something within an app. You can come down here. This is where it gets a little more interesting. It's ratings. So like for music and podcasts right now, you can see I have it set for explicit. So if I turn that off, then my child can't see anything that's tagged with the explicit tag in the store, and they can't download it. All right? Same with movies. Like you can set the rating so my child can't see anything past PG-13. Same with TV shows, books, apps have ratings as well. We'll come back to this one. Notice the like 3 that I have there in bold. One of them is require password. The reason being, the best way I tell parents is whether you're using the Android or the Apple side of things, basically you know the password to their account. They can have their own account, that's fine. You know the password to their account, not them. What that does is every time that they install an app, that forces them to come up to you and justify why they want that app on your phone. And you get to have a conversation about it before it goes on their phone. Okay? So if you don't do this, if you say require password 15 minutes or immediately, if you don't say immediately, once you type in the password, they have 15 minutes to rush and download whatever they want. Okay? So make sure you say immediately so that they have to do that every single time. All right? Keep going down. Location services are, remember I was saying my daughter, it geotagged to my house, so it gave away my location. You can turn off locations per app. So you still want them to use a map to find where they are, or you still want to know where they are with like Find My Friends. But for other stuff, you want to turn it off, you can per app. This is another big one, going down to accounts. If you click on accounts, this prevents them from logging out of their iTunes account and logging into their friend's iTunes account. so that they can download whatever they want on their friend's account without you knowing. Okay? So that locks the phone to that account. All right? Finally, we're going to go back up to the website thing, and I'm going to explain this without getting super nerdy. Okay? So websites, obviously we want to check limit adult content. This does a very good job. In fact, it does too good of job at times because it blocks anything remotely related to adult content whatsoever. All right? So if you check limit adult content, you can then go in and let's say, for example, it keeps blocking ESPN.com. Not that it would, but it just keeps blocking something that they go to all the time that you know is okay. So what you can do is go in and say, you know what, I'm going to allow this website, and they can see that website because I know it's safe, even though it keeps getting blocked. The same thing with never allow. You can go in, if it's a website you know is bad, that they keep going to, but Apple's not blocking it, you can block it here. Yes? You have to go back into all this, but once you do it once, it stays. It does it will let you override it by typing in your passcode. Like if they pull it up in Safari and it gives you a warning message, then you can type in the password and it'll let them on that site. Just that one site. So, all right. So the other cool thing about this, without getting too technical, Apple uses this thing called WebKit. So WebKit is what Safari, an internet browser, is built on top of. So it's like the nerdy code stuff that's happening under the hood. This thing is called WebKit. Okay? So the reason why that's important to you as a parent is that WebKit, let's say somebody is using the Twitter app. Okay? In Twitter, I can post a link and click on a link, and then it opens up a web browser kind of view inside Twitter. All right? Well, Apple forces all of their developers to use WebKit. So this blocks every instance of WebKit. So even if they're inside Twitter and trying to view stuff, if I tweet myself google.com, I could go anywhere and do whatever I wanted inside Twitter and no one would ever know, even though I don't have a browser. So this is a big deal because it blocks content not only in Safari, but in every instance where WebKit is used. And because they force all of their developers to use WebKit, then it gets blocked everywhere. Make sense? So, super helpful checkbox. So check that box when you go home. Okay? All right. So that's basically the restrictions that Apple gives you, and that's about it. There is a new thing that I'll show you real quick. It just came out. iOS 8 came out, I think, 2 weeks ago or something. So this is iOS 8. It has a new feature that's kind of cool, but it's sort of helpful. If you go down to where it says iCloud right here, and it's listed at the top of the next page. If you go to iCloud, click on iCloud, there's this thing called Family now. So you can click on Family, and you can see Family. This is not correct, but yeah, there's a reason for that. Okay. So what this does is this allows our entire family to buy apps and share apps that we all buy on the same credit card. Okay? So we can share credit card. The other cool thing is you can share calendars, you can share photos. If I buy music on my account, then my daughter can download it on her account as well. Okay, so anything that we buy as a family, we can all share. It's kind of a nice feature. They also did this thing where anybody who's under the age of 18, so if I click on Maddie, it slides over and then it says ask to buy. If I check ask to buy, then if she wants to purchase something in the App Store, it actually sends me a notification and says, hey, is it okay if Maddie buys this app? And I say yes or no. So she has to ask permission from me to be able to get the app. However, there's a catch to all of this. And I don't know if it's brand new and they haven't figured it all out yet or what. But let's say I download Instagram. but I don't want my 10-year-old daughter to have Instagram, okay? Because I downloaded it, it's now part of our family thing. That means she has access to download it without asking me permission. So the permission doesn't apply to things that you've already downloaded as a family. So I would still say the best method is for them to have an account and for you to know the password to the account so that they have to come to you with the phone to justify why they want it on their phone. Make sense? Yes, the ask permission does apply to free apps. But again, like Instagram's free. But because I have downloaded it, then she has free reign to get it. So, okay? So that's their new thing. Any questions about the Apple side of things before we, sorry, I don't know what's wrong. Okay, maybe that'll help. Okay. Yes. Yes, if I can remember how to get there. I think it is, if you just go to Safari, I don't know if it's going to, if you do the limit adult content thing, it doesn't allow them to delete the history either. So, so let me go turn that off so we can look. It's, do you know where the bookmarks thing is in Safari? I think it's right in there. Restrictions. If you go, yep. So at the bottom, there's a little bookmarks thing right here. You click on the bookmarks and then it slides up, and then you can click history, and it will show you history. Make sense? If you have the only catch to that is if you don't have the limit adult content feature turned on, down here in the corner, you see where it says private? If they click on private, then that allows them to go and surf the web and do anything they want, and it doesn't keep a history log whatsoever. If you turn the limit adult content on, that checkbox, that button doesn't show up. So, if you give them access to Safari, make sure you check that box. Because if not, they have free reign to do whatever they want and see whatever they want and not keep track of it. Yes? With Apple's new thing, you can add up to 5 different people to your family. So you have one person that's in charge that starts the family when they first sign up, and then they ask other people in the family. So they ask other accounts to sign up to become part of the family. And then once everybody agrees to that, you're all on one thing, and it gives you a warning like, hey, everybody's going to be billed on that one card and things like that. So, but the best way to do it is for everyone to have their own account. And honestly, like, you mean have one account for everything? Yeah, like, the thing is, like, for me, I don't want to see that, like, all the games that my daughter puts on her phone, like, and all that stuff, I just don't want that messy. I'm picky. So I don't want that messy up my phone. So I give her her own account, but she doesn't know the password of that account, so she can't do anything with it without me. So even though it's her own, and it honestly is good anyway, because later in life, when she, as she gets older, she'll already have that account that's already made. and she just has to put her own credit card in, and she can leave your family at any time after she turns 18 or whatever. So that is a good question. When we get into the apps in just a minute, I'll address that. Yes. I don't currently. I know that they offer like a kids zone type thing, and they have, just like Apple, Microsoft has built-in parental controls into the OS. I don't know how much freedom they give app developers to do anything. Normally when I do this, there is no one that has a Windows phone, or maybe there's one person. That's just why we haven't done it. Yeah. They do, up until now. Let me show you. If you go back to the family thing, so if I go to iCloud family, you'll notice that here's all the things. I can add a family member, which is what I was saying earlier. You can invite someone to join your family. But if you look down here at the very bottom, which is, you guys can't really see it, but it says create an Apple ID for a child. This is for people who are under the age of 13, but it doesn't collect as much information. There was a law passed back in 1998, I believe, that prevented companies from collecting information from children under the age of 13 for marketing purposes. That's why getting into the age of the phone sort of stuff. Every app that I'll show you here in a second that does social media, anything that's social, they take information from you that breaks that agreement. So that's why every one of those apps, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those apps, all require you to be 13 years old or older to use it, because that is the law. So if you want an easy way out, you can just say, hey Johnny, you're going to break the law if you're under the age of 13. Okay. All right. So anything social that has a social component that it requires an account means they're going to collect information from you. So automatically 13, for whatever reason, the government said that's the magical number that you can't market to anybody under the age of 13. Okay. With the age of the phone, obviously it depends on you as the parent. I know for my daughter at home, we gave her just a little like flip phone thing, so that if she's playing down the street or if she's doing whatever, it's an easy way for me to communicate with her, and it's like an extra $10 a month for me to at least be able to pick up the phone and know where she's at for whatever, that communication piece. But she can't put apps or anything else on her phone. I'm a big fan of not giving them social media, and I'll explain why, at least until they're 13, if not until they're older, but it also depends on the child. There are things like Instagram, for example, that are way more visual. If I had a son, my son would probably not have Instagram for a very long time because boys are visual, and you get the idea. Okay. Things like, girls get more involved in the social part of it than the boys do. Not to say that that's always the case, but so you have to be careful with how they're interacting with other people. Same with boys too. But. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do is just kind of walk you through before any more questions about Apple, Android stuff. Okay. I just want to walk you through some popular apps. I'm sure you hear on the news, you hear all this stuff about apps all the time. So what I'd like to do is just kind of show you a few of them to give you an idea of what's out there and what they do and all that good stuff. All right? Again, for every one of these apps, you have to be at least 13 years old to use them. Okay? Facebook, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Facebook. It's probably the safest of the bunch, only because a lot of times their grandparents are on Facebook, okay? So they're not necessarily doing anything too crazy because Facebook, the world sees it, all right? So that's Facebook. I won't get into it. Next up, Twitter. Middle schoolers don't use Twitter hardly at all. For whatever reason, high schoolers and young adults use Twitter a lot, and adults use Twitter a lot because it's a simple source of news. So I'll show you Twitter and what it does. This is Twitter, the nice little bird. And I will say things like tweets. That is absolutely ridiculous language, but okay. All right. So you can see it's essentially a running list of stuff that you can put up and follow various people. So I like, where was it? So I like Jimmy Fallon, so I follow Jimmy Fallon. I can see whatever's happening on Jimmy Fallon's show, okay? And I can follow my friends and see what they ate for dinner that night, or whatever. But essentially Twitter, you have 144 characters to tell the world whatever it is you want to tell the world, okay? But that's all you get is 144 characters to say whatever you want. So that's why everything is like super short, and it's just a running list of various things, okay? You'll notice that within that, you can have a link. So Twitter allows you to link, like what I was saying earlier. If I click on NBC.com, it actually pulls up a browser inside Twitter. So if I were to tweet myself Google.com, I can search and do anything I want within Twitter, and nobody would ever know. Okay? So that's how links work within Twitter. There's also things called hashtags. Anybody know what a hashtag is? Okay? How many of you have seen it and heard it, but you have no idea? Okay. So I'll do my best to explain what a hashtag is. You see the pound sign all the time. Like if you're watching American Idol and you see pound sign American Idol. You're like, what is that? So all a hashtag is, it's a made-up category. So it's a category. If you're watching a U of L game, you could do hashtag U of L, and everybody who includes that hashtag in their tweet, when you click on that, it's going to pull up a list of everybody that's ever used that hashtag within that. Okay? So it's a way to categorize all this stuff into made-up things. A lot of people use them as humor. My wife likes to send them to me in text messages, which makes no sense whatsoever. I make fun of her for it. Okay? But anyway, so we'll try to look here and see if we can find one. It also has this, like, @DaveStone, so that's Dave's Twitter handle. So that's his Twitter name, okay? So if he gets mentioned, then it will notify him that he was mentioned in someone else's tweet. Okay, so you can kind of communicate with other people. You can also send direct messages to people as well. But down here, so here's one with a hashtag. Notice right here it's hashtag Youthman. If I click on it, slide it over, now all of a sudden it's clickable. So if I click on that, then this is going to give me a list of everybody who's ever used that hashtag. Is just going to pull in all those names and all those. Okay, obviously Twitter is broken. But any tweet that, so this is how they find content. So if they are in Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, they all use hashtags, but this is how they find content. So for example, if I were to put hashtag sexy lady, you can imagine everything that would come up. All right? So it's ways for them to find content online very quickly and easily, and that's how they're finding things that aren't appropriate. Okay? So that's how they're able to search. So everybody good on a hashtag? The search can be, you can search people, you can search hashtags, you can search, those are the two biggest things, honestly. Yes. So a lot of times, like, it's not necessarily that there's a ton of inappropriate content on Twitter itself. It's the link that goes with it. That's exactly right. But it's a way for them to quickly find inappropriate content, and there is absolutely no filtering this whatsoever. It's all these apps that you'll see are all or nothing. They either have access to it or they don't. But there's no parental controls in any of them. Right? If you turn that on, that's the only restriction you can apply, but it's not actually applying it to Twitter, it's applying it to what Twitter is using to display the website. So what happens is when they click on the link, it invokes WebKit, and WebKit's the thing that blocks it. So yes, it would block a link within that. Yes, if you're on an Apple. Android does not do that. Android, each app is independent. Okay? So that's Twitter. Instagram is exactly the same as Twitter, except instead of posting 144 characters, you're posting a photo. So it's all based on a photo, and then people can comment, or people can hashtag, or people can mention other people. But it's a running list of photos. So you can, again, see what your friend is eating for dinner or whatever. Yes. Yes. It's within the app, yes. So like Instagram has like Fallon here, like hashtag Fallon tonight would show everybody who's used or tagged that within their photo on Instagram, yes. So Twitter has their own hashtags, Instagram has their own hashtags, so on and so forth. Yes. No, you would have to type it in to include it. However, people who make comments can also put a hashtag into your stuff as well. So, but Instagram has a no pornography clause. However, just know that it's based on abuse, meaning it has to be reported for it to be taken down. So stuff's going to get put up faster than it gets reported. So if you are looking for it, you can find it, essentially. So. Honestly, I'm not real sure. That's a good question. I would think that it just stays with the originator of whatever happened. 'Cause it. Yeah. And you made, from what it looks like, it looks like you can't put it, you can only put it, I'm only seeing them in the post. So you must only be able to put them in the post, not in the comment. Yeah, and then somebody tags you with that. Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's definitely the case. Yeah, that's where hashtags just allow you to easily find content. That's really all you need to know about them, whether for good or bad. If you're looking for American Idol results, they can help you quickly find them. If you're looking for not so good things, they can help you find that too.